What is the cruelest weapon in Warframe's arsenal? We've got a lot to choose from. Is it the Ballistica Prime that tears souls from enemies to fight alongside us? Is it the Stug, which is basically the Coom gun, which we're going to say less, Clark? The Estella that shoots shards of glass, the Causticist that fires a trail of corrosive sludge in front of it, the Compressor that shoots bubbles, which is just taking the piss, and honestly, the Dual Vicus with its gas clouds, or many, many more. Now let's have some fun and let me know in the comment section below what you think fits the mold of Warframe's cruelest weapon in our arsenal. Just remember, Tenno, we fought with honor. And for me, the cruelest is still and will probably always be the Zymos, because it creeps me out, and I have mentioned this in a video 3 years ago, but it is a bioweapon delivery system disguised as a bit of chunky infested flesh, a pistol that is gloriously cruel. Now the Zymos fires projectiles that when hitting a headshot will burrow into a target's head, inflating their head like a balloon, complete with that inflating fizzling sound effect. Then their friends have to sit back and watch as their heads inflate, and after about a second it explodes, either knocking the target down or ragdolling them, and that explosion then sends out 6 homing spores that will seek enemies out inside 20 meters, dealing impact damage to them and toxic damage, which you can then combine that toxic with another element to make viral, corrosive or gas, depending on your weapon's build. It is basically a chain reacting head popper that enemies quite frankly can't escape. And then when you mod it for viral, or have Nourish subsumed on your Warframe, and then add Bleed in there with the Hemorrhage mod because it deals guaranteed impact, or if you mod for gas, it is incredibly effective. It is of course another gimmick headshot gun like the Nell, like the Dual Toxicist, so it's not going to be to everyone's liking. It can be a little bit clunky, it does have a slow fire rate, it also has a slow reload speed, it has a really low crit chance, but you can offset that crit chance by putting on secondary enervate, which puts you into orange or red crit status, which means you can mod for it now. But it works really well with frames like Harrow because of red crit covenant, Zaku, who can just keep shooting his gaze target to keep spawning the weapon's homing spores, Saito 9 because his whole gimmick is weak point damage, which is exactly what this is made for, or he can apply other elements from his resupply ability to increase it to even higher levels of Geneva Convention damage. Now you could take it with a Ureli Prime, which I have done since her passive gives you 200% crit chance once she is moving to sidearms, and her sea snares by the seashore group for easy headshots, but also give enemies a damage and vulnerability debuff. I think mine is over 350%. Now since it is a weak point specific weapon, you can also pop on Worthy Camaraderie, since it will give you another 75% weak point critical chance on top of your existing crit chance, and of course that secondary enervate. The only thing you'll have to decide on is whether you want to use Worthy Camaraderie, since you might be using Brief Respite, Corrosive Projection and so on. Up to you what you want as your aura. Now to get your hands on the Zymos, in case you don't already have it and you're kind of liking what you're seeing, you will need to go to Demos, you will need to get it off Father once you hit Stranger rank with the Syndicate. The blueprint will cost 2,000 standing, and then Barrel and the Receiver cost 1,000 standing each as well. Then you're going to need to farm the actual resources to craft it. But it is easily one of the most unique, but also one of the, I guess, niche weapons in the game right now. Not to mention that it is incredibly satisfying seeing when you land that first headshot and then you watch the spores swarm all around the room like kind of little infested piranhas just blowing everything up. It is really nice to see. But again, let me know in the comment section below what you think is, I guess, the cruelest weapon in Warframe right now in terms of how it actually kills enemies and how it functions, not so much on the just the pure damage it deals, but the actual functionality of the weapon itself. Now, how did I go about modding my Zymos? How did I go about embracing the cruelty? Now, like pretty much every weapon in Warframe, you're going to have to build it depending on what Warframe you're going to bring it with, depending on what, I guess, elements that Warframe is going to add to your weapons, or what kind of subsume maybe you have on that Warframe as well. Now with the Zymos, this would be a general build that I could basically bring with pretty much any Warframe, where I'm leaning into viral with the cold and the toxic that it has on base, while also adding hemorrhage to give me those bleed effects. So it's basically viral and bleed. Then I've gone for crit chance, crit damage, while also having secondary enervate, which is going to put me into that orange or red crit territory after I hit those big 6 critical hits. Then I've gone for Lethal Torrent, which is giving me multi-shot on fire rate. Galvanized Diffusion is also going to increase my multi-shot for those initial projectiles that you shoot. I don't think it changes the amount of spores that come out of the body once you shoot it. Then I've gone for Prime Expel Orokin, or Prime Expel Mod, whichever faction I'm going up against, but you could switch this for Hornet Strike. And then I've gone for Galvanized Shot, because I will have a Sentinel that is priming enemies in front of me with either the Verglass Prime or something like that instead. Now you could drop this one out if you wanted to put Galvanized Crosshairs, or if you have a Riven that's maybe somewhat decent. Again, entirely up to you. If you wanted to, you could also mod it for Pistol Acuity, where you're getting rid of all of your multi-shot and you're basically doing 350% weak point damage, and also increasing your crit chance by 350% as well. Considering this is a headshot gimmick weapon, it is a weak shot gimmick weapon, which means this is going to be incredibly beneficial. This would also allow you to go into viral if you wanted to. I've currently got gas and hemorrhage because I had got nourish subsumed onto my warframe, which is giving me that viral, which means I've got viral, gas, and of course hemorrhage as well. Then I've got semi-pistol cannonade, which is reducing my fire rate, but it is giving me 300% damage and a bit of punch through as well. And then my final build, which is one of the ones in the footage I was using with my Yoreli, is based entirely around gas, which is basically Pistol Elementalist for my increased status damage and reload speed, since it is a bit of a clunky weapon with a slow fire rate and a slow reload speed, and it doesn't have many rounds in the magazine, so I've gone for that. Then I've got for Primed Expel Orokin, because it is a gas damage weapon, so I want the effect from this. Lethal Torrent, which is increasing my multi-shot. Galvanized Diffusion, increasing my multi-shot as well. Creeping Bullseye is increasing my crit chance. Galvanized Crosshairs, also increasing my crit chance. Prime Target Cracker is increasing my crit damage. And finally, Primed Heated Charge, which is giving me that gas when it combines with the initial toxic from the radial attack. Now, in all three builds, I have got secondary Innovate for obvious reasons. It is a low crit chance weapon. This is going to allow me to benefit from critical hits. But you could bring Harrow with his Lasting Covenant augment, which will have you always in red crit. You could bring any amount of different arcanes, maybe Arcane Precision, which will give you 300% pistol damage. You could bring the Doriga with Verglass Prime in order to crowd control an entire room, making it much easier to land those headshots, to spam all of those spores all over the place. But at the end of the day, I like using it because it's fun, right? And that's it for me more than anything else. Not so much the min-maxing, not so much anything like that. I just like using weapons because they're fun to use. And this one definitely fits that bill. Is it clunky? Yes. Does it need specific mods and frames? Absolutely. But it is absolutely glorious when you start seeing those chain spores kicking off. So let's finish the video out by saying you didn't watch this for a balanced weapon. You're here because it said that this is Warframe's cruelest or most sadistic weapon. You're here because you wanted to see a head inflate and go pop, and the Zymos delivers. Now let me know in the comment section below what your go-to setup is for either deliciously cruel or just incredibly enjoyable setup outside of the niche, or whether it is niche or not, and let's see what kind of fun videos we can come up with. With that being said, have a great day, have a great week, and as always, thanks for watching.